Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome. This is Yonks, and this is our weekly working group for solar EV. And right now, that's CEIP, which stands for Community Energy Innovation Prize. And this is our third working group as we're working to prepare our team narrative for Community Energy Innovation Prize. And I'm actually here at the College Hill Library, which is a dual purpose for Front Range Community College in Westminster at their Westminster campus and the Westminster Public Library. So I'm in a small study hall room. So this is one of the ways that we want to facilitate as far as if people want to connect and work on the working group with us in person or on Zoom. And join with me on the Zoom here today are Tyler and Amy. Good afternoon, ladies.
Hey, how are you?
I am great, and we've got a full agenda here today. This is Notion, and this is the tool. I'm actually going to share a link in the live stream for everybody here. So let me grab that real quick and then throw this in our live stream. So here we go. Agenda for today's working group. And this is something that should also be in the description for this event as well. So anyway, the agenda that we've got prepared, let me go ahead and scroll down to the agenda section here on Notion. And before we hop in the agenda, one of the things that I do want to communicate is that we are still accepting new teammates for Community Energy Innovation Prize. We really operate under an open innovation model. And there's also a link to my team calendar here if you would like to schedule an introduction conversation with me so that I can help figure out as well how that you can best contribute to the project here, get you up to speed just so that we can hit the ground running because we do move very fast. One of the things that I did update, and this can also be viewed on our project homepage here in Notion, which is this page, and I'm going to go to that right now. But I did add an events calendar section, which is a calendar view of our Notion database for agenda and meeting notes. And the event that we're in right now, the working group, is this event. And this is actually where you would click on and it would take you to this exact page. So this is just one other way that you can stay apprised. And this particular page up here does have all of the meeting details for a specific event. One of the other things too, and I'll talk about that here, I'm going to actually add an agenda for that so that I don't forget. Let me put this here. Mention plans to reboot meetup.com group Web3 Freedom Club I'll just put that right there for now. So going back to the page here, one of the other things too is our link tree, which is our project homepage at solarevcoop.org. So besides one of the events that's not here on the calendar is the group office hours. And this is something that I would encourage people to register for. This is something, let me actually go ahead and open up a link to that as well. So here's the forum post that one of the power connectors made. And this is, again, the Community Energy Innovation Prize that we're preparing our project around right now. So power connector support, office hours, and upcoming workshop. So one of the power connectors is the Clean Energy Business Network, I believe, and they have an upcoming office hours. And their one scheduled here for October is coming up this, let me go ahead and open up this event or this link here. So this is coming up on Friday. It looks like the time slot is 2:17 or 2:15 p.m. Mountain Time. So if you're available then, I would encourage you to register. I'm going to commit to participating in this. And this is only something that there's a handful of these resources. And here's some more details as far as the Clean Energy Business Network and whatnot. So those are the kind of resources that we have available to connect to in building our project here. So let me get back to the Notion page for our agenda here. All right. So I'll come back to this here momentarily. So one of the things that we discussed here on our previous working group was these are one of the things that we discussed that we wanted to talk about here on the agenda today. And would this be a good time, Tyler, for you to expand upon the initial conversation as far as who is able to do what? And it probably corresponds a lot to the roles and responsibilities.
Yeah, so there's a couple things. One is if you want to pull up DWork.
Sure. And DWork is a task management tool that we use. And we're at DWork 3-Win DAO is our Triple Win Foundation. And I'll throw this link in Restream as well. And I'll actually put the link in for the solar EV project. And this is one of the things, DWork is, I'm actually planning to create a like an intro to DWork video here soon. And this is something that we'll probably create focus on an office hours to talk about in probably here shortly after November. So all of our projects right now that we're building are under Web3 Freedom Club. And we did create a project for solar EV co-op DAO. And this is the link here that I was wanting to share on Restream. So this is the link to our DWork task board for solar EV. And do you want me to stay on DWork, Tyler?
Yeah, so just in terms of who's doing what, so a couple things. You had said, Jason, this morning, just in an offline conversation, you had wanted to focus on hospitals or at least add them to the list of potential sites. You were also talking about some blog content and some different things. So a couple things. One is we as a team need to get better at putting everything that we would like somebody to do on the list, whether that's actually one of us or somebody else. So two opportunities. One is we actually got some beautiful graphic design work done at Retoken by some guy who said, I just like doing graphic design. And I saw a bounty, so I just made you guys some designs. So here you go. No idea who this guy was. He'd never participated with us before. Found us, gave us these designs. We gave him a bounty, and that was kind of it. So I'm hoping that we'll attract people that want to stay with this project longer term. But I think it's an easy way to attract bounty hunters who say, hey, I can write, I can design, I can research, I can, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing is it'll be a good way for us to keep track internally who's actually doing what, so that we're not all doing the same thing. I realized after I'd already done it that I was writing an article that somebody else had already written because I just got my wires crossed. So having one central place to track who's doing everything so we can get bounties out, and then also make sure that people are actually doing things, and then that people aren't doing the same things would all be helpful. So that's kind of the thought on that, why I put that in there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's one of the things that I'm actually wanting to carve out. I didn't actually get that reflected in our Notion agenda for today, but this is one of the things that do have some tasks in here, but I'm actually wanting to create a specific agenda item where we talk about weekly contributions that we have done to move the project forward. So like one of the weekly contributions that I did that I still didn't reflect within DWork is a couple initiatives on the collegiate track partnerships, some emails that I sent out. And then like also just facilitating the group office hours that we are going to be hosting, that we did host here also at College Hill Library. And I'm actually thinking of doing the one in Fort Collins on Thursday, but I'll have a better understanding what that looks like here on Monday. So one of the things that and here's actually, let me go back to DWork and go to that task here. So like one of the conversations that I had with Robert, who was on our working group, or I had a side conversation with him this week as far as a industry terminology or jargon. And I actually created a Notion page for that. Let me actually, here's the task that I created in Notion. Create a Notion page for this FAQ. What industry terminology jargon do we use? So let me actually go into Notion and let me create this as a task here as well. Discuss the FAQ page for jargon. So let me just do a search here in Notion for jargon. And this is one of the things that will get a lot more exciting when we continue to add more and more details. And one of the things I'm actually going to, I was expecting to have Fred from Fireflies on here, and he's not. So I'm actually going to take a pause real quick and see if I can get Fred the Fireflies AI bot added to our let's see, window. So like I said, I thought that this was set up, and I'm gonna hop in. I'm going to stop the share here real quick and get this signed in. So you want to go back to the roles and responsibilities conversation, Tyler? As far as talking about some thoughts that you have on that topic?
Yeah, the biggest thing is we need to figure out what the priorities are per thing. So if somebody says, I only want to do writing, I don't want to do anything else, here's the stuff that needs to get written in order. And or if somebody says, I'll do the most important task, whatever it is. So really just need to kind of create a tic-tac-toe board of what stuff would be a lot easier or mandatory to be local, like site searching and stuff like that, versus research and writing and phone calls and emails and other stuff that can be done from anywhere. The other thing is we need to make a list of assets that we need to produce. So like Double D produced a roadmap the other day and it was really beautiful and nice. And then, but I think you'd said that you were looking for something a little bit more interactive so we could edit it and change it and didn't have to keep having them redesign it all the time. So just being clear with people what we need and what we can do. I know Taken had drafted some stuff on Chat GPT that was a really great start. So I think a lot of the stuff can be pretty easy to do. We just somebody to just kind of own it.
Yeah, and I think that and that's more through the lens of content. And one of the things too, let's see, I'm here in this Fireflies real quick. I wonder
What's Fireflies?
Go.
What is this thing? What's Fireflies? What is this thing you're doing?
So Fireflies is a AI tool for meeting transcription that automatically joins the meeting. And there's a possibility with us having the Zoom, like the, but the Fireflies bot, the way that I understand it, should be a meeting participant in here. And I don't know if because that I've got the, that we have to admit from a workflow standpoint. So anyway, it doesn't look like that it's going to work today. I'm going to just close these windows and get back to, I'll have to troubleshoot that. Yeah, I'll have to troubleshoot that offline later. So let me get back to close that window and fire up the share screen here on the Zoom. So like one of the things too, because I think that it's very different because like when I'm talking about like roles and responsibilities, like one of the things like regarding the site selection process here is like having a site scout and somebody that potentially facilitates the conversation with the, you know, and because we obviously don't want multiple people attempting to reach out to the same organization, because that can be very confusing from a communication and workflow standpoint. So because and looking at our priorities, like these are the project priorities that's an ongoing work in progress across, and this red box here means that this content is viewable. Like these solar EV project priorities is in every working group that we've hosted on this project, as well as the project homepage. So like you were talking about the roadmap, Tyler, and this is one of the things that Double D created a visual image, like and just having the stuff in a easier to consume manner, because like a lot of people, if they even get to our project homepage, maybe aren't familiar with toggle headings and stuff like that in Notion. But that's one of the things, like, because some of the roles and responsibility, and I think like the content strategy that you're talking about as far as like a blog article, working towards creating some written processes surrounding that. And on content specifically, one of the things that I don't even have on here today, and time permitting, this is something that we've had some side conversations. But let me go back to this search. This is where I was at on the FAQ page for jargon and terminology, which was kind of a tangent on this, because this was a task in D-Work. So like here, let me do that search again, because this is one of the things, jargon. So here was a page that I created in Notion, and this is also in our FAQs database. And this is one of the databases that we can and should use for creating frequently asked questions. And this is one of the things that may be worthwhile at some point in time to create a piece of content on. But going back to the one that I had created here, what industry terminology, like I added power purchase agreement, PPA, and that's one of the things that we had a conversation about. And like the use case here that I put as the toggle head under this toggle header is that a power purchase agreement is typically used in the industry for organizations surrounding energy providers. So like for example, one of our portfolio projects that we submitted is the 24-hour fitness parking lot at Diagonal Plaza in Boulder. That would getting a signed power purchase agreement with 24-hour fitness to use the solar from our community solar that would be in their parking lot. If we move forward with that, that would be one opportunity that we would have to get a signed power purchase agreement. And one of the main goals that we have isn't necessarily to get a signed power purchase agreement, but it is to onboard 10 LMI households. And this is something like right now, I'm going to put in here I'm going to just duplicate this and make it an L. And I'll put a toggle for LMI, low, moderate income households. So LLMI, low moderate income households, and actually created a page. I'm going to bring that up in here real quick at lmi.solarevcoop. And this is a redirect that goes to a page in Notion, because this is one of the biggest priorities that we have is, like I said, to onboard 10 LMI households in each of the pilot communities. And here's the 3 pilot communities that we're looking, and here's some more information on LMI. And this is actually something that I'm going to put in a link here, is a link to a page, and let's do a search for LMI, process for LMI household verification. So I'll put a see this business process we are creating. And I'll move this down to right here. So that's a useful, like, where somebody could bookmark this terminology page, and the more that we can add details into the terminology. And this is something too that Notion, for me, I'm continuing to learn how that we can use Notion. And one of the other things that wanted to talk about, since we're talking about Notion here, and let me go back to our agenda. So that's probably very different, Tyler, as far as who is able to do what than what I was talking about there. And getting better. And let me actually, I forgot here, I was talking about this FAQ or this jargon page. Let me put because what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to go back to the Notion or the DWork task and just go through here. So here's the DWork task. So I'm actually going to submit work right now. So this is a task that I've got assigned to myself. And I'm going to click on the button submit work. And then I'm going to put in created this Notion page. And then just paste in my link. Submit. So, and this is where that as we continue to get some additional workflow, because like one of the things that I need to move this to a in review from a workflow. And then like right now, I've got the reviewer as myself, but like this is one of the things that I shouldn't be the creator, the submitter, and the reviewer of this. But one of the things that I love to do is like, we're talking about this particular task here during our working group, building in public. One of the things that we could potentially do from a workflow standpoint is make the reviewer like solar ev.eth. And then one of the things that we could do from a workflow standpoint is actually like potentially approve some of the tasks and then actually do the airdrop for paying out. It's not something that we're ready to do here this week, but that's one of the things that whether it's next week or the following week, that I would really like to see us incorporate within some workflow, here within our working group. Does that make sense, Amy and Tyler?
Yeah, and I've got the airdrop mostly ready to go. I think I'm missing a couple meetings, but it's basically ready whenever.
Well, understand though, Tyler, the airdrop that you're talking about is the airdrop for meeting participation. And I just want to thank you for being the secretary. This is one of the things that I'm hoping that we can move towards an automation standpoint. Like the airdrop for this task that I basically just submitted the work on during our working group right now would be a different airdrop than the one that you're talking about, the airdrop for working group participation.
Yeah.
How are you liking that, Amy, like trying to incorporate that type of workflow within our working group?
You're talking like before?
So like where we just get better at like using the tools. DWork is a tool for doing tasks. There's going to be an immense amount of tasks that we need to do between now and February to have a solid project to submit. And more importantly, like besides submitting the narrative for the Community Energy Innovation Prize, the other thing that I'm really wanting to use here in the coming weeks and months is to create our security token offering. And that'll be checking some different boxes as far as tasks to work towards creating everything surrounding having a high quality security token offering that we can bring to market in February 2024 for people to invest in. So yeah, the thoughts is to like, so far, this is like our third working group for Community Energy Innovation Prize. And I think if memory serves, we hosted 8 or 9 working groups for Solar Prize Round 7 and Community Power Accelerator Round 2. And we didn't have much conversation and really honestly use DWork day to day, week to week in creating the tasks that we were doing behind the scenes. So this is one of the things that I want to bring more forward from a focus effort within the workflow of our working group, but more importantly, not even the workflow of our working group, where we can individually operate more autonomously, get stuff done, create evidence of getting stuff done, and then reward ourselves for the social tokens that we have created for the projects that we're building right now. So like another example is I sent an email for the research and document justice 40 zones in Colorado. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the Google Doc. I didn't contribute anything to the Google Doc, and I'm not sure if there's anything in here yet. And this is one of the things that there is not. So between now and our working group next week, and let me see if there's a, I don't know if there's a deadline capability in this. I'm not seeing a priority. I'm going to put a medium priority. There's also some additional opportunities. So this is something that I think I've got open to submissions. And one of the things that I would really like to see, I'm going to actually do a version history. I'm going to do a name current version. We're going to call this version 0.1, initial document discussed during working group number 3 Zoom live stream. So what I'm just doing here is I'm naming a current version, and this is one of the things that I would encourage us to do just from a best practices standpoint. Where that comes into play over here is in a version history, see version history. And this is just one of the things, like I said, from a best practices standpoint, that we can see here in Web3 Freedom Club, the version history. And this is where, like, if you go in and you make a substantial contribution, then maybe bump it up to like, and that's not, the number's not, that's a trivial thing, but just put in like, added quite a few details and then whatever, and then we can see that. And then anyway, that's just the best practices. And I still really like Google Docs. We've got Notion. People are a lot more familiar with contributing in Google Docs. So that's what we're going to continue to do, a bridged dynamic. And you can see how that I kind of incorporated that. Everybody that's currently been contributed on the team right now has edit capabilities to the whole folder where I made this Google Doc. And if somebody wants to contribute, like that's watching this live stream, reach out to me. I'm at Yonks on Twitter and pretty much everywhere. DMs are open, Yonks team on Discord. So reach out to me via direct message. And if you want to contribute, then that's something that we can add you as a contributor so that you can edit the Google Doc. So we'll add this to review to our next week's conversation. One of the other tasks that I created here today, I didn't actually submit work. This is one of the things that I'm going to do right now and talk about right now, since that we're all in the weeds on talking about tasks and contributions, is the Create Notion database for our solar EV potential sites. So let me get back to our agenda. Let me make this full screen here. So this is something that I incorporated in the database in the solar EV project priorities under the site selection. And I actually cleaned this up a little bit. So we've got two ways that we're working on sites right now. I created a Google Maps. That's something that I've showed. I may come back to a little bit, but right now we're talking about the Notion database. And this is one of the reasons that I love Notion is how easy it is to create a Notion database. So this is actually the database that I'm talking about. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so that everybody can see. So these are the three sites that we submitted within our solar EV project portfolio. And I'm going to just open this right here for the Community Power Accelerator Round 2. And the traction may change on these. And this is one of the things that I'm really hoping to create more workflow, more conversations. Like one of the roles and responsibilities in solar EV is a site scout, somebody that wants to submit a site for consideration. And right now we don't have any workflow. Like these sites that are on this potential sites database right now are three sites that I shortlisted. And the reason that these sites were were shortlisted is because it checks these incentives. And let me go back to this other page here real quick that talks about the incentives. And so the incentives here that we're talking about are the energy community, hard hit coal, which is a hard hit coal community. There's a tool that you can use on some government site that talks about that. I think it's at energycommunities.gov. Opportunity zone and NEVI. NEVI is basically must be within 1 mile. Here's those highways that are designated in Colorado: I-25, I-70, I-76, I-270, and then the US highways. So US 287 with us, Tyler and myself being in North Denver, is one that is strategic that we'll be spinning some cycles around. And then the other one is Charge Ahead Colorado. Colorado has up to $250,000 per project for DC fast charging, and that's something that we can submit 3 times a year. So this is something that's very, very early, this Notion database, but this is where we can continue, because like one of the things too that I think will make sense is incorporating a content strategy. Like right now, I created a very easy video. It literally took me a couple minutes to create a video. And one of the opportunities that we have is to create a written piece of content. And this is something that we might do. And just thinking out loud here, like one of the conversations that we need to have is municipality outreach, and whether that's county level or city level, like this one in Welby, the 70th Avenue self-storage is actually in Welby, which is an unincorporated municipality. So there wouldn't be a local level of governance, but there would be Adams County, and starting the conversations with Adams County. And similarly here, this is in Inglewood, and thinking through. So if there's anybody that's interested in having these types of outreach conversations, reach out to me. I'm primarily the main person that's doing outreach conversations surrounding some of these sites right now. And this is something that we will continue to talk about. Right now, the big focus that I've got is to get our low and moderate income subscriber process finalized, because one of the goals that we have is to onboard 10 subscribers. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead, like here's this table. So this is where I'm going to put in a link into the DWork task and go through that process yet again for submitting this. And I'm going to just show what it looks like in an incognito window here in Brave as far as that Notion database. And this is, again, something that's very preliminary. There's actually a couple sites that I want to add to the list that I've created some video for that aren't on here, like Front Range Community College. I'm sitting at the College Hill Library. And this is another content opportunity that I texted our core group of contributors about, is the opportunity to potentially creating a blog post and some content around the opportunity for Front Range Community College here in Westminster. But how is this, since this is the first time, Amy or Tyler, that you've seen this potential sites database in Notion, is this making sense as far as how that I'm creating this? I will take there's Amy having her mic open. Go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, it's okay. We're just listening to you right now.
So does how I broke down the incentives make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. And that's one of the things that I think will become more clear, because there's going to be projects that we want to move forward with, that because like one of the other ones that we talked a little bit about, Justice 40. That's one area that we haven't spent any time focusing on yet. And I'm actually going to digress and talk about one of the opportunities that we've got right now on our HeroX is, let's see, here's our team and this is something that I'll share in the live stream as well. I'm going to finish this up before I move on to that. So here's the web link, and I'm going to throw that into. So I'm going to submit work. Created this Notion database viewable at submit, and we'll move this into in review. And this is one of the things that we will circle back and hopefully have the workflow done by next week to move this into a completed from an in review status. But anyway, going back to the Notion page here, this is actually what I wanted to share. in Restream. So team link for CEIP. I think I already shared that. I'm sharing it again. And one of the things too that we will be doing is having some breakout teams, but I'm not gonna, so going back over here to our community energy innovation. So this is what I was wanting to talk about, was there's an update on the team or on community energy innovation prize. And the update that's available is that the webinar recording has been uploaded, as well as the slide deck. And that's one of the things that I was actually wanting to show briefly, was the slide over here. And we'll see if this, I need to get a PDF viewer so that it stops trying to save these, save. So I can just view it online. Anyway. So here's the slide deck, and one of the things that I was wanting to talk about is right here, this slide. So we talked a little bit about Justice 40, and that's one of the reasons that this is a dedicated task as well. So this bullet point here is this prize directly supports the Justice 40 initiative, which directs 40% of the overall benefits of certain federal investments to flow to disadvantaged communities, including, and here's the bullet points there for that. And that's one of the things, having a better understanding, because I believe on the Justice 40 website that there is a geo mapping tool where we can see and add this to our incentives, because the better that we get at checking different incentives for our projects, that means that we'll be able to provide better returns to our investors and more meaningful benefits to these identified communities. So that's something that we'll talk about here, and we've got that task where people can research and document the Justice 40 zones here in Colorado for solar EV. Does anybody have anything else that they want to add as far as Justice 40 right now, before we move on to the next bullet point?
I have actually done my preliminary research, and I touched on Justice 40, the diversity, equity, inclusion, and the JEDI, and all the government that has grants that would have funding for these projects in relation to sustainability and solar. And I will do my my report soon. I'm just compiling everything. But that it's basically a very wide array of possibilities that can happen. And I did include the question of the gig economy, which we are targeting as a niche. And that is indeed something that the DOE even is looking into supporting. So that's good news.
Yeah, that's fabulous, Amy. Looking forward, and that's something that we will make sure that we include in the agenda. I'm actually going to do that right now so that we don't have to document that later. I'm going to go over here on our Notion page and get back to where we were at for our agenda. So here's the agenda that we've been talking through right now. And this is one of the things, one of the reasons that I love Notion, and this is one of the things that we do during our working groups, is biddle in public. And so right now, I haven't yet created our agenda for next week. So one of the things that is fabulous about Notion is that it has templates. So I'm going to get the heading for this one real quick on my clipboard, because I'm basically going to copy this and use the template for our next week's working group, and then just change this to 4 for, and that would make it the 29th. And let me make this full screen here. Add the date and time. So 29th. From 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So let's put in our agenda. So discuss, I'll put just in here, Amy review her research efforts surrounding Justice 40. Okay, cool. So let me get back to make a new one here. The agenda that we're on for today. And just to rewind a little bit here, I'm not going to check this box as far as start to define some roles and responsibilities. We talked a little bit about the collegiate track partnerships campaign. That's something that I'll talk more about and circulate more as far as the upcoming group office hours. I've got that scheduled for a hybrid event and got a placeholder right now for College to Library, but it's increasingly looking like I said I'll be up in Fort Collins. So we talked about this. So I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to drop this down to the carryover. So we went through the Notion database. Did you want to mention anything more about Justice 40 before we move on, Amy? I've got to go into detail for next week's working group.
Not right now. It's still in a preliminary research.
Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and open our meetup group, and I'm actually going to scroll up here to the meetup event here for today. So I'm just going to open up here. Make this big for everybody on the live stream. So this is one of the things that I would like to start seeing us get a little bit better at is incorporating and this is still a very much of an ongoing work in progress as far as like this hybrid events format. And that's one of the things that will continue to be a work in progress. But the thing that I was wanting to talk about right now is earlier this year, we actually, and let me open up Web3 Freedom Club of Colorado in, oh, I clicked on the wrong button. In another tab. So this here is the event for today's working group. And this is a template that or format that we created. And thank you, Amy, for RSVPing on here today. So what I'm talking about here is the rebooting, rebranding this right now from Web3 Freedom Club of Colorado, part of the Web3 Freedom Club, to Community Solar Club and Community Solar Club of Colorado. And one of the reasons for that is that all of the events that we've been doing here in the near term, and then I think it will actually just provide more simplicity and clarity. To be clear, Web3 Freedom Club is not going anywhere. That's something that we're kind of we're using as the organization for these projects that we're doing. So like you can see our events that we've got are all about solar EV, and our past events here in the near term, except for the Web3 Investment Club for Cryptorado that we just did yesterday or Friday, have been about solar EV. And this is going all the way back to and we didn't really start using this until the first part of October, so not too long ago. But right now, that's the thoughts, is that really, and you can see here too, that we never even updated the image from when we rebranded, rebooted, retokened the real estate DAO into Web3 Freedom Club. So this is one of the things that I think makes sense. I think it'll provide more clarity. So that's one of the things that I'm going to add. I'm actually going to add that as a task right now. Let me just get this link here and go to our DWork window over here. So I'm going to put a new task, rebrand. I'm going to put reboot, rebrand, Colorado meetup group from Web3 Freedom Club to Community Solar Club. Meetup.com. And assign this to myself. And I'm going to put this as an urgent priority, because one of the things that I want to do is get that rebooted, rebranded before I create the working group for next Sunday. And that's one of the things that I'm going to get better at, is getting these scheduled and put out there sooner. And unless things change, I'll probably again next Sunday on October 29th be again here at the College Hill Library. This is a pretty small room, and that's one of the things the Broomfield Library may have, but it's a little bit further away. But I think that the College Hill Library will make sense. They're open from 1 to 5, so our 2 to 4 Mountain Time works great. So I'm going to put a 2 on this, and this is a community create. So I'll get that rebranded there. So does that make sense, Amy? Like to kind of be more in line with the direction around Community Solar Club?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I'm not sure if you're cutting out.
now I was just thinking of my research, because it has a lot of good ideas in it. So, but I'll present it to you guys.
No, looking forward to that. So here's the DWork task that I just created here during our working group as well. There we go. So one of the other things that I wanted to do was talk a little bit, since we just spoke about Community Solar Club. This may be a good opportunity to break that out right now, or to create a new team. Are you in front of a computer, Amy, that we could actually go through and do that process right now, or do you want to take that offline?
Repeat that for me, please.
So one of the things that I didn't have on the agenda, and let me discuss breaking out new team for Community Solar Club. We could do that now, or we could take it offline. It's basically like you would need to create a new club, or I could create one and then with Web3 Freedom Club DAO and promote you as the team captain. That's kind of what we had the conversation earlier about this week, doing the breakout team.
Yeah, are you gonna make one for Nick too? Because I thought
I already did.
Okay.
I think I've actually got that. Let me see here. Yeah, Web3 AI for energy.
Okay.
So here's, and like if are you able to create the team? Because like right now I've got Web3 Freedom Club DAO as the team captain on here, and I haven't got Nick promoted to the team captain. So if we wanted to do this, you would actually have to create the team right now yourself.
Is it just creating the name on the team, or what's? If you can text me what I need to do, I know how to create HeroX team because I've done that before. So
Yeah, we could take that offline.
Okay.
And then like because I'm not even sure what we want to put for any of the stuff, but here's the let me throw this in
the
Restream here
Web3
real quick.
AI.
Yeah, so and the big thing with the Community Energy Innovation Prize is that team participants can only be on one team. And the reason that we're breaking out these teams is because that there's, as we discussed, Amy, there's just so much opportunity around AI and how AI can potentially benefit these future distributed or these next generation distributed energy resources that we're going to be creating. And then also like solar EV categorically is an infrastructure play. We're looking to deploy solar panels, battery storage, and DC fast charging. Those are all tangible things. And the intangible, like the AI and the technology that can manage these distributed energy resources automatically. And like one of the use cases that we spoke about AI is evaluating people's utility bill and then just telling them, calculating automatically how much that they would save with a equitable community solar program like ourselves.
Yeah.
So I was talking about sharing that link here and I continued to talk instead of actually doing that. So let me do that on our Restream window here real quick. So here is the new CEIP team for Web3 AI for energy. And the thought, like I said, Amy, surrounding these additional teams is just to be more conversational, because like solar EV, how that we're building solar EV is focused on a model that we can replicate state by state with us focusing on creating the model here in Colorado. The entire industry at large is probably thinking about how AI can potentially benefit energy. And then like Community Solar Club is a content and local community aspect that I'm really excited to use Web3 technology to build more scalable local communities. So I'll give you a call here later today, Amy, and we can figure out how to get this, or sometime early this next week, so that we can talk about our actual team next week. And just from a priority standpoint, Web3 AI for energy and Community Solar Club, from my perspective, are pretty low from a priority standpoint. My main focus is getting potentially collegiate track partners, and we only have until November 3rd, and then really working on the LMI process for low and moderate income subscribers for our community solar pilot program here in Colorado. So this is something we just spoke about there, discussed breaking out the new team. And let me just throw a link in here to discuss breaking out new team for CEIP Web3 AI for energy. And here's actually a link to that team that we just created right there, Web3 AI for energy. And then the last thing that I had prepared on the agenda today is this is an article resource, and let me actually just go to that page here in Notion. So this is another database in Notion, articles and resources. And this is one of the things that if you want to look at it by project, you can look at it by project on this tab. And the one that I created, let me go back to our agenda. I'm just going to open up this right here, is this reference community solar software and services. And it's a primer. This is one that was compiled. And let me just, I'm actually going to open this in a new window, I think. So this was just very recently compiled, August 2023, and disclaimer stuff. So we are categorically a platform provider and also a community-based organization and a subscriber organization. So our goal is to onboard LMI households. That would be the subscriber aspect, like the community-based organization. So we really fall into maybe all of these, except for like the we're obviously not a subscriber, but this is one of the things that breaks down some tools that are available. I haven't personally gone through this resource, but the more that we can understand solutions that already exist and whether it makes sense to use existing solutions. I'm personally increasingly with what we're looking to do with blockchain and using the composable blockchain technology. I'm increasingly thinking that will probably make more sense for us to create our own solutions so that we can incorporate those aspects into whatever we're doing, but having a solid understanding as far as solutions and just the methodology that was used for creating this primer, because we're definitely a with what we're building here will wear multiple hats. Because one of the things that I'm increasingly believing is that the way that we're going to be structuring equitable community solar and the tools that we're going to be using is that there may be an opportunity for us to evolve more into a platform where that we can provide this technology for other people's community solar projects as well. So that's one of the things too that I was having a conversation with Nick when we went to Cryptorado here this last Thursday was I think that with what we're building with solar EV, and right now we're initially focused on a parking lot model, but we'll absolutely incorporate a single family home model into solar EV as well. I really think that the value proposition that we need to build towards is that there's going to be so many different benefits for people to have their project or their solar in our community solar program than being a sole operator with solar infrastructure resources. So that's really the lens that I'm going to be looking through when we're building our infrastructure for providing services to these distributed energy resources that we're going to be building through solar EV. And that's one of the things that I want to get better at as far as just like whenever we find resources like this, adding it into our Notion database, potentially adding some comments and stuff like that. And again, the page that I created in Notion for this, and let me actually share this here on the live stream. And I'm going to share the Notion page, because the reason that I'm sharing the Notion page is that we do have commenting turned on. So if there's like something that you find when you're reading through that document, then add a comment in Notion, because that's something that we can look at and have conversations surrounding as well. So here's the link for our Notion page. Here's the link for the article resource primer for community solar on Notion. And that's something that we'll continue to talk about as well. I see that, hey, thanks for promoting the stuff on LinkedIn. Oh, and that's one of the things that I didn't put on the agenda that I'm going to talk about on LinkedIn. And this is where, again, I'm trying to get better at doing tasks. Is I actually created two company organizations, Web3 Freedom Club and Solar EV Co-op, and I'll share these links in the live stream and here on the Zoom as well. So here's the links on the Zoom, and this is something that we may incorporate into a Web3 campaign, is to get people to onboard here. So make sure that you go in, and I'm going to view this as, let's see. Share this link on the restream with people. Please follow our newly created LinkedIn pages, company pages. Web3 Freedom Club DAO. There's the link for that one, and the link for Solar EV Co-op. And LinkedIn page for Solar EV Co-op DAO. Okay, let me add that to the Notion here real quick too. Mentioned newly created LinkedIn company. All right, so I mentioned both of those. That's all the agenda that I had for today. I want to take a little bit of time to talk about, let's see, the ensure that we captured some of the stuff here on our next working group. And while I'm doing that, what else would you like to talk about here today that we didn't already cover?
I'm good.
And I don't know if Tyler's going to be able to catch up or not on the conversation. And I mentioned watching the webinar for the informational webinar. That's something that I would really encourage people to do as well for Community Energy Innovation Prize. And that was right here. Let me, here's the link. Throw this in the to-do too. Mention watching informational webinar course Community Energy Innovation Prize. There's the link for those resources. All right, well, this is all I've got for our working group today. The Broncos are playing. We'll see how that they're doing. I didn't even have time to put on my Broncos jersey today, but that was one of the reasons I wanted to make this working group a little shorter here today. And then the big opportunity for us is just to get better at doing things, working autonomously to move the project forward. And the more that we can talk and brainstorm and have some ideas about these specific areas, like to me, having our process for the low and moderate income households is very important, because that will demonstrate actual traction with our project. And not only that, but the way that I understand the economics surrounding financing solar assets is that you could, if you get the subscribers, then you can get the financing, and that doesn't even factor in the strategy that we're going to be operating with as far as our security token offering. All of those conversations are very preliminary right now, and that's one of the things that the people that are contributing, any of the side conversations that we have, whether it's side conversations surrounding the potential platforms that we may be using for issuing our security token, and or platforms like we talked about these primers for. So that's one of the things that we'll be looking at is community solar platforms that can provide services to us as a subscription for community solar subscribers. So that's conversations that we'll have. The main thing that I'm focused on for the next week is to do outreach surrounding the collegiate track partners, because we still have the opportunity of onboarding a collegiate or a college and or university here in Colorado to be a partner to co-develop a community solar program that can impact the local community. But I'm going to go ahead and call this a close for today. This is our third working group hybrid event. I'm in person at the College Hill Library, and I will likely be here again next Sunday unless I find another venue for this. But everybody have a great and safe rest of your Sunday afternoon, and we'll catch up on our next conversation as we continue to build solar EV, equitable, decentralized community solar.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Have a great Sunday.